One of the biggest things that I argue against is the idea of essentialization. The concept in which people blame a whole group of people for something that one or a few people that happen to be in that demographic have done. This is very common with, things like racism, homophobia, sexism, all these types of things. Where, give you a common example, right? For years, we had people saying things like, in the United States of America, people were saying things like, oh, the Mexicans are taking our jobs. Which, first of all, the way I was looked at it was, yeah, the jobs you don't want, first of all. And secondly, they're blaming this group of people who are just taking an opportunity available to them, when in actuality, it is the corporations that are moving their jobs overseas or taking their, getting rid of workers that might have more protections and need to be paid more and things of that nature so that they can take advantage of um, people who may not be full citizens or people who are in another country, things of that nature, right? My dad told me a story years ago where his dad was very anti Semitic. Now, understand as well that before World War II, it was not a controversial thing to be anti Semitic. I wouldn't say it was like extremely popular, but it wasn't, it was pretty commonplace. It was really bad. The reason he didn't like Jewish people was because one Jewish person took his job. Now, more than likely, what that means, of course, is that that one Jewish person was more qualified than he was, and therefore took the job that he wasn't available for. The man isn't around anymore, so I can't exactly corroborate the story and ask him. But that's not the point. What is the point? Here's the point. People often have a negative experience with somebody or a group of people from a demographic, and they then extrapolate that onto everybody. And one of the most common examples of this is people having been wronged by women, men specifically having been wronged by women or a woman or a few women in their life, something of that nature, and then extrapolating this onto all women. Hey everyone, my name is Christian Verstappen, and I have a lot to say about many things. I want to talk about how women just can't do anything. Now, one thing that I want to talk about here, before we get into this, I want to be perfectly clear. I've discussed infidelity before. I have experienced it myself, and I think it is one of the worst things that can be done, that a partner can do to another partner. I think that it is 100% a form of emotional abuse, and it is something that often goes overlooked, and people, kind of just brush off or make light of in many different, both in media and in real life. And I say all that as a lead up to this. I saw this post on Twitter. Whoa, where am I? There I am. Sorry about that. I saw this post on Twitter here where I guess this is some like news anchor at Fox Sports or something. The post says, as you can see here, surprising your wife at work for lunch at Fox Sports. Now, there's like a 30-second video that goes along with this. This is a woman who is having sex with another man, presumably on her lunch break, possibly her boss, don't know the details, but she's cheating on her husband or boyfriend or whatever it is, right? So that's wrong, right? That's horrible. Like I said, infidelity is awful. But the way some of the people responded to this So we have some takes that are pretty extreme, but understandable why they would say something like this. Cheaters deserve worse than the death penalty. I used to personally think that infidelity should be seen as strong of a crime as rape. I don't really think that anymore. I think it's still really terrible, but I don't know. I've heard from people who have experienced both that they would rather be cheated on than assault. So, you know. But here's where we get to the crazy shit. Women always cheat with 21,000 likes. By the way, the post in itself has 294,000 likes. But we have women always cheat. This is much more common than most people think. If you let your wife spend 40 hours per week with other men, this will probably happen, with 17,000 likes. Rule number 1, never go to your wife's job unannounced. Maybe we're just playing ping pong. I think this is like an AI thing, or maybe this is before or after. I don't know. Don't really care. There is a full video of it, by the way. This is some other bullshit. Ads. God, I love the fucking ad. Don't care about the goddamn ads, dude. Okay. Cheating inside the workplace, so trashy. This happens in corporate offices a lot. Never date a girl with a job. Marry a Christian woman, raise a family, grow together. If the husband has any class at all, he would leave the ring on the nearest table, change the locks on the house before the wife returns home, and use the picture in court. That way this woman wouldn't get a single cent in divorce. So I just want to say there is a 30-second clip of the actual event. It's not really anything more than you would see in like a PG-13 sex scene in a movie. Still not going to show it, but regardless, I mean, it's there if you want like actual context. If you want to be like, oh, maybe it's not what it looks like. Yeah, it's not what it looks like. No, it is what it looks like. But all right, what do we have here? And then we have this take. So y'all men just gonna leave every single woman that cheats, LOL, good luck, with 3.6 thousand. Blue crap, this post brought every whore on X, Twitter, out of the woodwork. What is this? Is this related?
Whoa. Who is this? Whoa.
That's it? Okay, great. The sex post references a Fox Sports incident tying into a lawsuit reported by Sporting News on March 4th, where Joy Taylor was accused of an inappropriate relationship with colleague Emmanuel Acco in 2020, allegedly discovered by her then husband. Lawsuit claims Taylor had a relationship with Fox Sports executive Jamie Dixon, who allegedly paid off Taylor's second husband, Earl Watson, Okay, in all honesty, I don't care about the details. I care about how people are responding to this. I swear, if this fucking thing that says waiting there, that's gonna be porn. It's not, but it's not. The point is, what I'm trying to get to the point here, as you can see, a lot of people are coming at this from the mentality, the takeaway that a lot of men are having here is simply all women cheat, and this is what this is why women shouldn't have jobs, or this is why someone else put, let me see if I can find it here. It was like, first they wanted the right to vote or something like that. There are so many, I mean, you guys know this, I'm sure, but Twitter is such a fucking cesspool, worse than it was before. Like, it was bad before, but I mean, it is just like ads and crypto scams and porn bots everywhere, and it's like, dude, can I just see the fucking replies? And like, what the fuck? Here we go. This is one here, right? This is what happens when you give too much freedom in the name of work and overtime. Women are for caring for your kids and your home. Otherwise, if you're dumb, there will be consequences. So the whole point, right, is like, so many people, their take from this is essentially, oh, this is why women shouldn't have jobs, this is why women shouldn't work, this is why women, all these different things, right? We have, okay, here's another post, which might be accurate. Let's see what we have here. Every time a woman cheats, there's a woman right there opening her legs, but somehow men are always the villain. If all men cheat, then all women cheat, unless every dude's secretly gay, and around 30% of women cheat. like stats say, then those 30% are getting passed around like Netflix passwords. Let's stop pretending cheating is a one-sided sport. It's absurd. It's all because the value of the dollar is so low that women cannot get married and be a stay-at-home wife at the end. So this is a crazy thing, right? And again, another stupid fucking. This isn't what I'm here for. Christ. But the takeaway that so many of these people are having, as you're seeing here, right, is this is why women need to be working in the home. This is why they shouldn't have jobs. Some saying this is why they shouldn't vote, which I can't find that exact one here, but all of these different things, right? And this is just like ridiculous because the extreme that people are taking here, they're looking at this horrific act that a woman is committing by cheating on her husband, and they are using it to to just further this narrative that essentially this is why women shouldn't have certain rights that they do. It's ludicrous. And here's the reality. The men that are saying like, oh, this is why you need to, marry a single stay-at-home woman with a low body count and all these different things, right? Not single. I mean, she's gonna be single before I marry her, but a stay-at-home wife absolutely can cheat. It absolutely happens. There are plenty of horror stories of that. There are plenty of horror stories of women with low body counts cheating because they've never experienced anything else, so they want to like go out and try something new. All of the things that these people think, like, if I control a woman and she's never had anything before me and all these different things, she's going to be loyal. No. Because infidelity is not about lack of experience or anything like that. It's lack of respect for yourself and the person that you're with. And it's opportunity. But if you are a decent person, if you respect your partner, you're not gonna fucking cheat. Because you care about them. You care about your relationship with them. So you have all of this, and then you have, where was it? Oh yeah, even this one here. Husband waiting his wife at home. Must be waiting for his wife at home while wife's enjoying with boss just for promotion. Why women always cheat. So again, it's this idea, why do women always cheat? And don't get me wrong, women 100% do the same kind of thing where they'll say like, why do men always cheat? And it's like, no. People cheat because they are disrespectful, horrible, selfish people. Now, I will give the caveat and say that like, if you're trapped, in a marriage or something, where I don't know, like you're royalty or something, or some extreme extenuating circumstance where you have essentially been forced into a marriage that you didn't want to be a part of, then yeah, okay. Like it was very common for kings and queens, for example, to have other partners on the side and for them to know about it because they weren't marrying for love. They were marrying to like solidify and like make the kingdoms come together and stuff like that. They married for political reasons. But that is more essentially what an open relationship would be, similar to like when celebrities sometimes they cheat, sometimes it's an open relationship and then they have to feign ignorance and be like, oh my god, this is so horrible, in like the public eye because the mainstream still doesn't respect non-monogamy and things like that. But the point is, people will take these negative examples that women or homeless people or black people or any minority that one person or a few or whatever does, and use that to extrapolate and essentially say, this is why this entire group of people shouldn't have basic human rights. It's horrific. And it's just people have been doing this to keep keep others out of power forever. Like this is like the oldest trick in the playbook. And sometimes it's also something as stupid as like this thing. Someone please tell me how this is possible. So here we have, I don't understand this either. Apparently, and she's probably playing it up for the TikTok as well. But apparently, you'll see here.
Ben, can you see me in the mirror?
Yeah, I can see you perfectly.
I'm sorry, how is that possible?
Because it's reflecting you.
But it's not, there's a towel in the way!
No,
I
don't get it either. I don't understand. I wouldn't freak out like this, but like I don't get it either.
don't understand. I don't.
Well, go really close. How does it know that?
What do you mean?
How does it know?
How can it see me?
No, I don't get it either. I wouldn't freak out like this. But again, like, okay, so this is like a fun, stupid little, silly video these people did on TikTok. But again, the way people are acting about it. Okay, mirror doesn't have a POV like our eye. It is an area. What a mirror shows is a POV of the observer. Math is very simple. You learn it in geometry. It's called an angle of incidence. I hated math. I have no idea what he's talking about, and I especially hated I think I took it twice. But I don't like math or geometry, so I guess that makes sense, but sure. I mean, hey, I'm glad this is the top comment, and this is him clearing up, but are people really this dumb? Here we go. How the media controls the masses. What the fuck? This is not... Put on something factual like the towel, give an explanation that is wrong but sounds plausible. In abstract and add layers and conclusions, only a portion of the audience will either recognize the faulty explanation. Okay, yeah, this is actually accurate, but we're actually going to see some examples of that. Same people who think a fetus isn't human because women, generally speaking, women want the right to decide what they do with their own body in regards to pregnancy. Okay, don't care about the math. We've entered the era where people are actually proud of being stupid. Okay, we're not... this is why the Department of Education needs to go. No, if anything, this is why it needs to fucking stay. This is also, though, why things like No Child Left Behind were fucking travesties. Let's see here. Maybe this was the one where they talked about wanting to vote. Was this the one? No. Okay. Let's see here. Come on, folks. Okay. I don't care about people explaining it. I mean, it's great. I'm glad people are... Ever notice how it's always women confused by how mirrors work? Yeah. So, like, this is the kind of thing... Not all of them, but, like, a lot of these people are... Yeah, she must be a Democrat. This is why pure democracy will always fail, because too many people are stupid. I mean... Considering the last election, like... Look, I think voting should be mandatory. I think that would solve a lot of problems. Let's see here. Lighters everywhere. I assume this is parody. So funny presentation. Narcissism trumping under... Okay, this is not... Dude, it's just something she didn't know. A reminder, these people vote. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Now, to be fair, this one only has 3 likes. But, like, and look, I know this is, like, the worst of the worst, because this is, like, Elon Musk's Nazi Twitter after he fucking destroyed it. But, the way that these people are, like, the people commenting about this stuff, they're seeing, like, in the first instance, a really awful, horrible thing. In this instance, something that's like, okay, like, so what? It's like a fun little stupid thing, and then you have these people extrapolating and being like, oh, these people shouldn't vote, shouldn't have jobs, shouldn't all this stuff. And it's like, dude, that doesn't have to do with none of that has to do with any of this. You're just using this, in the case of the first one, something really horrible, and in the case of the second one, something that's like just a fun, silly little thing. You're just using these things to justify your horrible views on women. It's the same thing where like you'll see World Star, I want to say it's called, where they'll like post black people fighting or something, right? And then they'll be like, oh, I can't believe these people are in society or whatever. And it's like, whoa, dude, holy shit. Because you can think that, you know, what they mean is like, I can't believe there are people that are this violent or whatever. No, that's not what they're saying. That's what you're saying. What they're saying is, I can't believe black people are in society when this is how black people behave. What they're saying in regards to the woman thing is not, oh, cheaters are so terrible or anything like that. No, they're saying women are terrible. Women are, you know, all this stuff, right? So all of this culminates into another example here that I wanted to bring up. And I originally was just going to do this as its own video, but when all these things kind of piled up on each other, I decided, you know what, I'll make it all one thing. So we recently have the I guess you could call her journalist, political commentator, I don't know, Kat, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce this, I thought my last name was hard to pronounce, Abu Ghazala. I'm terribly sorry, Kat. Do you say your name in the thing? I've seen like clips of her and I've seen like a few things, but I'm not super familiar with her or her work. I saw like one video. Let's see. Does she? Okay, no, I don't see anything where she talks about. She just talks about how she's running for Congress, which I mean, hey, good for her. This is something I've been recommended to do as well, and I'm like, no, I do not want to get involved in like actual politics. Fuck that shit. But people that are doing this, like her, more power to you. We need young people that are going to like advocate for and fight for people's rights and things like that in Congress. We need not all these fucking like old men that don't know shit about the current landscape of society and all that shit. But here's the thing. Kat's running for Congress. Okay. And so this woman, KT, quoted her, you know, families should have free childcare. Wow, I'm shocked that this woman... Oh, wait, I'm not even showing this, am I? My bad. Okay, sorry. So first of all, this is Kat running for Congress. And then we have, wow, I'm shocked, this woman quoting her, families should have free health care. Wow, I'm shocked that this woman wouldn't want to raise her own children and calls for legislation to further this societal cancer. What is Kat doing so wrong here? She is sitting on a bar, at a bar, having a cute, hot picture taken of her. What is the crime? I'll tell you the crime. She's a woman, and she's progressive. This same kind of stuff happened with AOC. When that video of her dancing in college or whatever surfaced. And it wasn't even, like, this shit isn't scandalous. What is so bad about this? They're a woman. And so much of society is predicated on the idea that essentially anything a woman does is just horrible. How dare a woman do, what, go to a bar and have fun? What is the scandal here? I understand the cheating thing. That's horrible. Like, I'm not condoning that at all. But what is she doing? Legitimately, what is she doing? How many images are there of congressmen and senators and stuff that are men doing the same kind of thing, and you don't hear shit about it? Who cares? Who cares? That thing of the guy in the wheelchair, the conservative guy in the wheelchair, he got shit from the right, not because he was like at a bar and like being crazy or whatever, but because he was, I don't know, dancing with like a trans girl or something, or cross-dressing, some shit like that. These people weaponize things like purity culture, and they weaponize the Madonna whore complex, which so much of society pushes onto women, where it's to the point that they can't do anything. Women aren't wearing enough. They're covering up too much. They're not being outgoing and fun enough. They need to smile more. Oh, they're being too happy. Oh, they're doing this. If you, people like Kat, like I said, more power to her. I cannot imagine, first of all, even getting into this as a dude. But as a woman, dude, everything you do or have ever done is completely under scrutiny. When Kamala Harris was running last year, one of the things that they immediately went after her for was the sexism angle. They were trying to paint her as a whore because Madonna, whore. This is also why, on a side note here, why I speak very much against the section, or the sect, I guess you could say, of progressives who are very sex negative. Normally about the way women are presented in media, where they talk about like the male gaze and stuff like that, but just in general, and how all of that comes down to purity culture, and it's how you ultimately get takes like this. What is she doing that's so wrong here? Legitimately, what? She does seem pretty base from the things that I've seen about her, by the way. Now, there are people going against her, pointing out like you sound like a real loser. She sat in a bar and had a few drinks. So what? Childcare support is something desperately needed in this country. Government funding daycare is like fixing a leak with a Band-Aid. If you don't understand that, then you're... I just don't understand. Like, do these people not realize that so many things that we take for granted every day, like our roads, are paid by and kept up by the government, and whether that be on the federal level or the state level or the county level or whatever it might be, like, you have to have these things in place in order to have society. And all that someone like Kat is advocating for here is, yeah, families should have free healthcare. They should. They absolutely should. Are you kidding me? 100%. Why not? Touch grass and get therapy from a therapist. Remove the, and what are we left with? Disgusting. What? Remove the. What the fuck does that mean? Whatever. Actually creates that people don't want to raise their own babies. What are you talking? It's not no, it's childcare, as in, like, most people have to work in order to maintain their house, their families, their children. And when they work, they have to figure out something to do with their kid. Why? Because workplaces, obviously and understandably, don't want you taking your child in when they're going to be, screaming and needing to be fed and changed and all these different things. So the parents have to figure out what to do with them. Do they put them in daycare, where it's going to cost a lot of money? Do they hire a babysitter? Do they have friends or family watch over them? What do they do? The problem is, and you could say, oh yeah, well, there you go. Those are your options. Okay, sure. But what if you don't have those resources? What if you don't have access to those resources? What if you don't have friends or family that are able to watch over them? What if you can't afford daycare? What if you can't afford these things? Right? And then here's the thing too. The same people who will act like it's so terrible for parents to either need to place their kids in daycare so they can make money and support their kids, or, God forbid, want a break from them every now and then because parents are still human beings that want to have lives outside of their kids as well. And this mentality that when you have a kid, your life has to revolve around them 24/7 and you don't get to be like your own person anymore is asinine. People want to have the capability to still support themselves and their kids, and to have, yes, a break from their kids every now and then. What is so bad about that? The same people that get mad, that are getting mad about that kind of thing, would also get mad if these people took their kids everywhere. Now, I do not believe that you should be taking like a 2-year-old on a plane or to Disney or whatever it is, unless like you have to take them on a plane, for example. But like they're not going to remember that experience at, Disney, for example. I don't think that like little babies or in a movie theater, right? But here's the thing, and this is a great example of the sidewalk effect, the rising tide boosts all ships, or however that saying goes. If you have free daycare, you also have things where parents are able to work and not have to worry about their kid. You have where parents are able to go out to dinner or go out to the movies or whatever it is, go out to public events, and not have to take their screaming little ankle biter with them, which annoys everybody, myself included. And as somebody who does not want to have kids myself, I understand that this is something where I can only try to understand the perspective of others, but don't think I'll ever have to actually worry about. But I mean, hey, if I have a friend who once, is asking me to look after their kid, and I might not want to either, then hey, free daycare, free childcare would help me in that situation too. Because this is another thing, right? People often treat their parents almost as if it's their job to look after their grandkids when they want to go around and do something. And that's also ridiculous. Why? Don't get me wrong, there are definitely times where grandparents want to look after their kid, but some parents just push their kid on their parents all the time when they want to do something else. And it's not fair. It's your kid. But there should be systems in place where if you don't want to, let's be real here, deal with your kid for the time being, then don't. You shouldn't have to. You should be able to put them with someone else who can take care of them for the time being. Now, I do want to touch on the very real truth that a lot of people who have kids also shouldn't have kids, which, funnily enough, is also an argument for better birth control, free access to birth control, free access to abortion, and having it be destigmatized, and all of that, as well as it applying to both potential parents. Just to touch on it real quick, I believe in that instance that both potential parents should have the ability to opt out of the pregnancy, even if they aren't the one who, is physically responsible for the birth of the child as far as carrying it to term. The reason I use that kind of language is because, colloquially I'm talking about, men and women, but obviously, trans, non-binary people, this applies to all kind of people. That's just something I want to touch on real quick. But the point is, yes, kids, parents should be able to put their kids in free childcare. This is one of those things where it shouldn't be controversial. And it's something that even the people mad at Kat for, suggesting this kind of thing would actually agree with if they didn't know it was coming from a progressive candidate or something. So, all of this to say, whether running for Congress and having not even something bad that you've done come to surface, and women being blamed for the scandal of having a social life, or catching strays from some women who just don't understand how something like a mirror works, like myself, or catching strays from heinous acts like infidelity, many people just enforce this idea and the reality that if you're a woman, you just can't do anything right. And it's just wrong. It's just insane, the level of scrutiny that women are like constantly under in society. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And it's something that I feel we should strive to point out and counter those hypocritical claims or those extrapolations when they come up like this. Because at the end of the day, it's just about trying to keep women down. Because I think, like in the case of the woman who's was negatively talking about Kat, she's jealous. For one, that Kat is more attractive than her. That's like obvious. But also, these people are jealous that they want to be with these attractive women, and they feel like they can't because of feminism. You know, they think the reason that they can't get a date or get laid or start their family or whatever it might be is because of feminism and women having rights. And that the way to fix that for them is to turn back the clock. And it's just really sad. But again, it's something that we need to point out and properly address. We can't let them get away with these narratives. So, as always, these are just my thoughts. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below. Follow me on social media for more. Subscribe and ring the bell to stay up to date. Leave a like if you like. And if not, I hope you find something you do like. Later, guys. Peace and love.